welcome back viewers to another news hour on Jamono Media and Products. We now begin with our headlines. UTG lecturer's passport seized at airport after refusing to pay security fees. Gambia Press Union Victim Center condemned GRTS directive to censor industrial actions. Those were the headlines. We now have the news in detail. A University of the Gambia senior lecturer who refused to pay a compulsory security levy at the Banjul International Airport, leading to the seizure of his passport, told the Standard that he declined to pay the $20 because he considered it an exploitation of citizens by the government. Said Matijar's passport was confiscated by immigration officers at the Banjul airport after he returned from Ghana on Saturday and refused to pay the levy collected by Security Port Company. Jah, who is the co-founder and executive director of the Center for Research and Policy Development, said his refusal to pay the compulsory fee came after reading Malagan's latest exposed detailed malpractice in the contract award to the US-based company by the Barrow government in 2018. The report revealed that the introduction of the $20 security levy has caused a possible financial loss of at least $274 million to the state. Explaining his encounter at the airport, Mr. Jau said he was in Ghana when the Malagan report was published. After reading it and looking at the alleged losses of millions of dollars to the country, he decided he is not going to pay the security levy, and he tweeted it the day he flew to the Gambia from Ghana. So when he got to the airport, he followed the procedure and he was on the queue until it was his turn to go and pay. He decided not to go and pay the security bill. He moved where the immigration line was and he stood there and he told them clearly that he is not going to pay. The first supervisor from the security port came and asked him to pay. Insisted and he was not going to pay. Then a second supervisor came and asked him why he is not going to pay. He asked him why should I pay, and then he later moved to the immigration area. When he arrived, the immigration officer did their normal processing in a very nice manner, and they took his passport and declared it not paid. So they took the passport and he left the airport. President Adama Barrow has flown to attend the United Nations General Assembly in New York, while Tourism and Culture Minister Ahmad Ba is representing him at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in London. The president departed Banjul International Airport last evening to attend the 77th UNGA, one of the most significant world events. His delegation included cabinet ministers and senior government officials. Aside his address to the World Assembly, the president is expected to take part in a series of sessions and hold bilateral meetings with alliance and development partners. Minister Ba arrived in London on Saturday morning as the government representative at the Queen's funeral. According to the Gambia High Commission in the UK, the minister was received by a special representative of the UK Foreign Minister and the Gambia's Deputy Head of Mission, Suntu Toure, accompanied by the Gambia's new High Commissioner to the UK, Fatou Bensouda. Minister Ba visited Westminster Hall and paid respect to the Queen, whose body was lying in state. He signed the Royal Book of Condolences and later attended the King's dinner at Buckingham Palace. This morning, he will attend the state funeral service at Westminster Abbey and the Foreign Minister's dinner and hold a meeting with the Speaker of the House of Commons tomorrow. The Gambia Press Union and the Gambia Center for Victims of Human Rights Violations have criticized the directive issued by the national broadcaster to cease providing a platform to organizers of the industrial actions. In a statement released over the weekend, the press union described the directive as an attempt to shrink the civic space and ignore voices of people and organizations calling for better working conditions. GPU head Muhammad Ba said the union found the directive to be illegal as it is consistent with the constitutional rights of citizens to freedom of speech and expression, including freedom of speech and the media. Section 208 of the Constitution further provides that all state-owned newspapers, journals, radios, and television shall afford their opportunities and facilities for the representation of divergent views and dissenting opinions. They are therefore calling on the Director General of GRTS to resign this directive with immediate effect and create space for divergent views in programs of both the state radio and the television, he urged. According to the union, the Labour Act of 2007 also spelled out the right of workers and employees to establish and join workers and employers organizations of their right. The union urged Information Minister Lamin Queen Jammeh to initiate and work closely with the relevant stakeholders of implement TRRC recommendations aimed at transforming GRTS into an editorial, independent and public service broadcaster. GPU Secretary Modu Diouf said the reform of GRTS is necessary and should be treated as a top priority to break from an unacceptable path of censoring critical voices on national issues, including those of striking workers and the opposition. This is necessary to ensure government accountability and to create the democratic space needed for freedom of expression to thrive. Also reacting, the Victim Center in a statement signed by its chairman, Serif Kijere, called the GRTS directive a threat to human rights, democracy, and good governance. GRTS is a public institution that is obliged to amplify the voices of all Gambians, and every citizen is entitled to be heard. The action of GRTS Director General Malik Jeng is unethical and grossly irresponsible as a state broadcaster. They condemn this action in the strongest possible terms and therefore call upon him to withdraw the memo. They are against any action that would violate the human rights of citizens in the Gambia, and this statement clearly did that. It read, the statement underlined that an industrial action is a lawful democratic process guaranteed by the Constitution and other international instruments, and any refusal of the state or public body to recognize those provisions will give way to authorization, rule, and undermining democracy and freedom of expression. Those were the stories. Thank you for joining us with your presenter, Maria McGillen. Do have a wonderful day.